And Hollywood has lost another veteran. Actor Charles Bronson died of pneumonia over the weekend at the age of 81. NBC's George Lewis has more.
Charles Bronson earned his place in Hollywood. Rising slowly, he proved to the world that he was worth every ounce of fame that came his way. Although he was known for playing mysterious and emotionally guarded characters, his real life was far more complicated than many people realized. Life seemed to have something darker planned for him, leading to his tragic demise. What's more shocking is how his wife passed too, just months after him. Join us in this video as we look through the life of Charles Bronson, his tragic demise, and that of his wife. The utterly tragic passing of Charles Bronson and his wife. Charles Bronson and Jill Ireland's lives were suddenly shaken by devastating news in 1984 when Ireland was diagnosed with breast cancer. The illness marked the beginning of a long and painful struggle. Throughout it all, Bronson remained by her side, offering steady and unwavering support as she underwent surgeries and treatments. During her illness, Ireland wrote about her experience in hopes of helping and encouraging others facing similar battles. Her writings later became a source of comfort and inspiration for many people going through cancer. Sadly, after 6 years of fighting the disease, Jill Ireland passed away in 1990 following a long and difficult battle. Her passing deeply affected Bronson. Friends and family described him as a changed man afterward, someone who was never quite the same again. Although he continued acting after her passing, he gradually stepped back from the public eye. The loss left a lasting void in his life, and he became increasingly withdrawn from Hollywood, carrying her absence with him for the rest of his years. In 1998, Charles Bronson married singer Kim Weeks, who had previously worked with the Dove Foundation. The marriage was seen as an effort to rediscover happiness later in life, after years of personal loss. By that time, however, Bronson's health had begun to decline. In the late 1990s, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, which gradually affected his memory and cognitive abilities. As the condition progressed, he required increasing levels of care in his later years. After the death of his longtime wife, Jill Ireland, Bronson created a special tribute cane in her honor. The cane was designed with personal meaning, and he reportedly kept a portion of her ashes within it as a way of staying connected to her memory and legacy. Ireland herself continued to be honored after her passing. In 1991, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Hollywood Boulevard. Her life story was also adapted into the television film Reason for Living, the Jill Ireland story, based on her memoir. Actress Jill Clayburgh portrayed Ireland in the film, drawing from Ireland's writings and recorded interviews, even though she never met her in person. Ireland was also credited as an executive producer posthumously, and the film received mixed reviews upon release. Even in his later years, Bronson remained the quiet, commanding figure his fans had always admired. He continued to embody the same stoic presence that defined his career even as his health declined. Charles Bronson passed away on August 30, 2003, at the age of 81, from pneumonia-related complications. His passing marked the end of an era in Hollywood, the loss of a screen icon whose tough, silent persona and enduring film legacy left a lasting impact on action cinema. Fans around the world mourned him as one of the defining stars of his generation. The passing of Charles Bronson was seen as more than the demise of a film star. It felt like the closing chapter of a life defined by resilience, hardship, love, and quiet strength. While his breakthrough came through Hollywood success, many believe his life truly changed when he met Jill Ireland. For someone known for his tough, emotionless screen presence, his deep connection with Ireland stood out as something rare and deeply human. She became the person who softened his guarded nature and reshaped his personal world in ways few others ever had. Was it her passing that led to his own illness? Would Charles Bronson have lived longer if his wife hadn't passed? Keep watching to find out. He missed her every day until he passed. Their relationship also became one of Hollywood's most memorable partnerships, both on and off screen. Together, they shared films, fame, and fortune, creating a legacy that fans still remember as one of cinema's most iconic couples. After Ireland's death, Bronson's world reportedly changed dramatically. Some accounts suggest that her absence marked the beginning of a slow emotional decline for him. His official cause of death was listed as respiratory illness, with conditions like pneumonia and Alzheimer's disease contributing. Film critic Stephen Hunter once described Bronson as someone who radiated male life force, stoic, powerful, and quietly charismatic, with an aura of mystery that made him unforgettable on screen. Charles Bronson was laid to rest at Brownsville Cemetery in West Windsor, Vermont. In a final symbolic gesture, he was buried with a cane containing the ashes of Jill Ireland, a lasting reminder of their bond, suggesting that even in death, the connection between them remained unbroken. Charles Bronson was also reported to have suffered from several serious health conditions in his later years, including metastatic lung cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and congestive cardiomyopathy. These illnesses contributed to the gradual decline in his overall health toward the end of his life. Film critic Stephen Hunter noted that while Bronson was never considered a traditionally great actor in a technical sense, he had a rare ability to quietly control a scene. He described Bronson as someone who never gave up, rarely complained, and carried himself with a restrained intensity. Even when silent, he could fill a scene with tension and presence. Hunter also suggested that Bronson's strength came from what he didn't express openly. His emotions were often implied rather than spoken. That quiet restraint became a key part of his screen identity. In 1974, Bronson once told critic Roger Ebert, "I'm just a product like a cake or soap that will be sold," reflecting his practical, no-frills view of Hollywood. Despite this self-assessment, he acknowledged that his on-screen presence had a powerful effect on audiences. Over time, Bronson became known for a unique screen quality. Even when he was still or saying very little, audiences felt like something was about to happen. That sense of tension became one of his trademarks. Although he has passed on, Charles Bronson's legacy remains strong in film history. His style helped shape the modern action genre, influencing later generations of action heroes. His films often explored themes of morality, justice, and revenge, while his characters added complexity to traditional portrayals of masculinity in cinema, showing toughness not just through action, but through quiet, controlled intensity. These themes easily held audiences' attention and went on to inspire generations of filmmakers. Even today, many modern action stars trace part of their style and confidence back to Charles Bronson as a model. His influence didn't fade. It kept echoing through the genre. Fans around the world continue to appreciate the legacy he and Jill Ireland left behind. While Bronson's films still inspire directors and actors decades later, Ireland's openness about her cancer journey also helped raise awareness and encouraged others facing similar struggles. Despite the tragedy they endured, their relationship is often remembered as a powerful story of commitment and love. Their bond stands as a reminder that some people leave an impact that outlives them, shaping how others see love, resilience, and partnership. Even now, Bronson's films are revisited again and again, not just for entertainment, but for the raw intensity and emotion they carry. That lasting appeal is part of why he remains a timeless figure in cinema. More than just a Hollywood actor, Bronson is remembered as someone whose life story itself became inspirational. From poverty to global fame, he showed that determination can change a life, even without privilege or perfect beginnings. In the end, both Bronson and Ireland are remembered not just for what they achieved individually, but for the enduring story they created together, one that continues to inspire courage, resilience, and hope. How did Charles Bronson rise to become the man whom Hollywood could not do without? How did he eventually find love? Let's see. The early life and career of Charles Bronson. Bronson was one of 15 children born to Lithuanian immigrant parents. His family lived in severe poverty, and as a young boy, he worked in coal mines to help support them. The struggles of his early years had a profound impact on him, shaping the tough, working-class image that later defined many of his performances. Like many first-generation American children, Bronson grew up in a household where English was rarely spoken. He later recalled struggling with the language while growing up. Even during his military service, his accent was so strong that some fellow soldiers believed he was foreign-born. Even though Charles Bronson spoke English, he could also speak Russian and Lithuanian. He became the first person in his family to graduate from high school before joining the United States Air Force in 1943 during the height of World War II. Before entering the military, Bronson worked in coal mines. During the war, he served in the 60th Flexible Gunnery Training Squadron and later became an aerial gunner aboard a Boeing B-29 Superfortress with the Guam-based 61st Bombardment Squadron of the 39th Bombardment Group. His unit flew dangerous combat missions over the Japanese home islands. Bronson survived 25 combat missions during the war. He was also wounded in action and later received the Purple Heart for his injuries and service. When the war ended, he returned home with a stronger sense of direction and determination. After serving as a gunner, Bronson worked several odd jobs while trying to figure out his future. Eventually, a theater group in Philadelphia hired him to paint stage backdrops and scenery. That opportunity slowly opened the door to acting, and he soon began appearing in small stage roles. During a time when anti-communist sentiment was widespread in America, Bronson changed his surname from Bukinski to Bronson to avoid discrimination and improve his chances in Hollywood. While living in New York City, he shared an apartment with future actor Jack Klugman. Determined to build a career in entertainment, Bronson later moved to Hollywood to study acting at the Pasadena Playhouse. For a time, his life lacked stability and direction, but acting eventually gave him a renewed sense of purpose and became the foundation of the career that would later make him a Hollywood icon. Henry Hathaway directed Charles Bronson in his first film role, You're in the Navy Now, released in 1951. Bronson played a sailor and reportedly landed the role because he was the only actor who could vomit on command, an unusual talent that unexpectedly helped launch his Hollywood career. That same year, Bronson appeared in The Mob and the People Against O'Hara, both directed by John Sturges. Throughout the 1950s, he steadily built a reputation as a dependable and versatile actor, appearing in films such as Battle Zone, Pat and Mike, Bloodhounds of Broadway, and Diplomatic Courier. Bronson also starred in Red Skies of Montana and The Marrying Kind, while continuing to work with respected filmmakers like Hathaway on My Six Convicts. His television appearances helped expand his popularity even further. After boxing with Roy Rogers on an episode of The Roy Rogers Show, Bronson began gaining wider recognition with TV audiences. He later played a boxer named Cauliflower McPug in a comedy sketch on The Red Skelton Show alongside Red Skelton. How far did his career go? What other key moments helped solidify Charles Bronson's place in Hollywood? Keep watching to find out. Charles Bronson's peak career days. Bronson also appeared with Lee Marvin in the espionage television series Biff Baker, USA. In 1953, he took on the role of Igor, assistant to Vincent Price, in House of Wax, directed by Andre de Toth. To prepare for the role, Bronson learned American Sign Language to strengthen the silent, eerie personality of his character. The film became a massive success, earning more than $23 million and ranking as the fourth highest-grossing movie in the United States that year. Over time, House of Wax would become recognized for its cultural and historical importance in horror cinema. In 2014, the Library of Congress selected House of Wax for preservation in the National Film Registry because of its cultural and historical importance. By the late 1950s, Bronson was steadily building a reputation in Hollywood. He appeared in supporting roles in films like Never So Few, directed by John Sturges. Their successful collaboration continued when Sturges cast Bronson in the classic Western The Magnificent Seven in 1960. In the film, Bronson played one of the 7 gunfighters hired to protect a small village. One of his most memorable moments came when his character defended the honor of the villagers' fathers, reminding the children that their parents were not cowards. The role helped transform Bronson into an international star. Although he reportedly earned only $50,000 for the movie, The Magnificent Seven became enormously popular, especially in Europe, where Bronson's rugged image strongly connected with audiences. The film later turned a major profit and eventually earned recognition from the Library of Congress, which added it to the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. Bronson also remained active on television throughout the 1960s, appearing in popular series such as Laramie, The Islanders, and Riverboat. He further strengthened his television career with a recurring role during the second season of Hennessy. At the same time, Bronson continued appearing in films, including X-15, directed by Richard Donner, as well as A Thunder of Drums and Master of the World. In 1961, Charles Bronson appeared in episodes of One Step Beyond and The Twilight Zone, continuing to build his reputation as a strong television performer. Around the same time, his guest appearance on General Electric Theater earned him an Emmy Award nomination, further proving that Hollywood was beginning to take serious notice of his talent. Bronson's true breakthrough came in 1963 with The Great Escape, the classic World War II prison escape drama directed by John Sturges. The film became both a critical and commercial success, earning a Golden Globe Award nomination for Best Picture. Audiences connected strongly with the movie, and it eventually became one of the highest-grossing films of the year. Over time, The Great Escape earned its place as one of the defining war films in cinema history. By 1968, Bronson's career took a dramatic turn when he began starring in European productions, where his popularity exploded beyond Hollywood. French filmmakers first took notice of him while he was filming Villa Rides and quickly saw international star potential in his rugged screen presence. That same year, he starred alongside Alain Delon in the French crime thriller Adieu l'ami. How well did this movie do? Where was his acting career now headed? Let's see. Charles Bronson's biggest success in Hollywood. Filmed in Paris and Marseille, the movie became a massive success in France, earning millions at the box office and helping establish Bronson as a major European film star. Another major milestone came with Sergio Leone's legendary spaghetti western Once Upon a Time in the West. The film sold millions of tickets across Italy, France, and Germany, becoming one of Bronson's most iconic performances. Years later, the film was recognized for its cultural and historical importance and selected for preservation in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. As the 1970s began, Bronson's Hollywood career remained strong. During this period, he began a successful working relationship with director Michael Winner, a partnership that would produce some of the most famous films of his career. Charles Bronson and director Michael Winner began their successful partnership with films like Chato's Land, followed by The Mechanic and The Stone Killer. These movies helped strengthen Bronson's image as a tough, no-nonsense leading man. Their biggest success came in 1974 with Death Wish. In the film, Bronson played Paul Kersey, a quiet New York architect who turns into a vigilante after his family suffers a brutal attack. The movie sparked controversy because of its violence and dark themes, but audiences responded strongly to it. Despite criticism, the film earned more than $22 million and transformed Bronson into one of Hollywood's biggest action stars. The success of Death Wish eventually led to 4 sequels released over the next 2 decades, firmly cementing Bronson's legacy within the action genre. In 1975, Bronson starred in 2 films directed by Tom Grise, Breakout and Breakheart Pass, the latter adapted from a novel by Alistair MacLean. That same year, Bronson delivered one of his most praised performances in Hard Times, directed by Walter Hill. He portrayed a street fighter struggling to survive during the Great Depression. Influential film critic Roger Ebert described the performance as one of Bronson's most defining roles, and the film received strong reviews from critics and audiences alike. By 1975, Bronson's popularity had reached its peak. Behind only Robert Redford, Barbra Streisand, and Al Pacino, he ranked as the 4th biggest box office attraction in the United States. Even at the height of his fame, Bronson continued experimenting with different kinds of roles. He began working with director J. Lee Thompson in films such as St. Ives and the Western comedy From Noon Till 3. In 1977, Bronson also earned praise and award recognition for his role in Raid on Entebbe, directed by Irvin Kershner. Based on a true story, the television movie received several award nominations, including a Golden Globe Award nomination for Best Television Movie. Throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s, Bronson continued collaborating with Thompson on several additional films, further extending one of the most successful action careers of the era. Charles Bronson continued his run of action-heavy roles with films like Love and Bullets, Cabo Blanco, and Death Hunt. In Death Hunt, he starred alongside Lee Marvin, playing longtime rivals in a story inspired by real events. Critics, including the New York Times, noted that both actors were seasoned professionals who brought real depth and weight to their roles, helping the film earn strong appreciation. Did his career experience setbacks at any point? Was his life all about movies and fame? Keep watching to find out. Charles Bronson's pretty private personal life. During the late 1970s, Bronson was also considered for major blockbuster roles such as Escape from New York and Superman, but he ultimately did not land those parts. By the 1980s, he had become closely associated with action films, especially through his work with Cannon Films, a studio known for producing gritty, fast-paced action movies. This period further cemented his image as a tough, no-nonsense screen hero. He returned to his most famous role in Death Wish 2, followed by sequels such as Death Wish 3 and Murphy's Law. In these films, Bronson repeatedly played hard-edged characters who took justice into their own hands. He continued in the same vein with movies like 10 to Midnight and The Evil That Men Do, both featuring him as determined protagonists driven by revenge or justice. Later, Bronson took a noticeable shift in tone with the 1986 television film Act of Vengeance, where he played Union leader Joseph Yablonsky. Unlike many of his earlier roles, this character did not involve violence or weapons. Critics praised his performance for its sincerity and emotional depth, revealing a more grounded side of his acting. Despite his success, Charles Bronson remained private and reserved. He rarely gave interviews and often kept his distance from Hollywood fame. Known for being blunt, he reportedly carried lasting resentment toward parts of the industry that overlooked him early in his career. Interestingly, critics like Roger Ebert once noted that Bronson had a unique advantage over many action stars. He looked just as intimidating in real life as he did on screen, which made his performances even more convincing. Over time, Bronson became a defining figure in Hollywood, especially in the action genre, where his presence left a lasting mark. His personal life changed significantly when he met actress Jill Ireland. According to reports, Bronson fell in love with her while she was still married to his friend and fellow actor David McCallum. It's even said that Bronson boldly told McCallum, "I'm going to marry your wife." Eventually, Ireland's marriage ended, and she and Bronson married in 1968. From that point on, they became one of Hollywood's most well-known couples. Their relationship grew into a deeply public love story, with Ireland appearing in many of Bronson's films and becoming closely associated with his career. Jill Ireland also became his creative partner and emotional support, often described as his muse. Together, they built a strong family bond and shared both personal and professional success, forming a relationship defined by loyalty, affection, and mutual understanding. Charles Bronson and Jill Ireland built a close-knit family together, raising 7 children. Despite the glamour and attention of Hollywood, they kept their home life relatively private and grounded, choosing family over fame whenever possible. Even though Ireland's beauty and charm often drew public attention, the couple stayed focused on living a simple, stable life away from constant spotlight pressure. Together, they became known as one of Hollywood's most influential couples, with both their personal bond and professional collaborations drawing admiration. What about Charles Bronson's last wife? Did he have any kids? Let's see. Charles Bronson's last wife, Kim Weeks. Kim Weeks was born at Patrick Air Force Base in Florida, a military installation where many service families lived. Her upbringing was shaped early on by that environment. Her father served in the United States Army, so structure, discipline, and a strong work ethic were part of her everyday life. After his military service, her father later worked as a fruit inspector, a job that involved checking produce for quality and safety before it was sent to markets. It's a simple detail, but it reflects the steady, hard-working background Kim came from. There is very little public information about her mother. Kim Weeks has also kept details about her wider family private, so it is not clearly known whether she has siblings. What is confirmed is that she grew up in Cocoa Beach. Living in a coastal town known for its beaches, surf culture, and warm weather likely gave her a relaxed, outdoorsy childhood atmosphere. Even as she became known publicly later in life, Kim has consistently kept her early years out of the spotlight. Unlike many public figures, she has not shared much about her schooling or educational path. Most accounts agree that she spent her formative years in Florida, enjoying a fairly ordinary upbringing rather than anything connected to fame or luxury. While the exact schools she attended remain unknown, and there is no confirmed information about college, it's clear she grew up in a grounded, everyday environment. Overall, Kim Weeks's background reflects a simple, private upbringing shaped more by family values and normal life experiences than by public attention or celebrity culture. Like many people who dream of working in film, Kim Weeks eventually moved to Los Angeles, the center of the entertainment industry, where actors, writers, and filmmakers go in search of opportunity. At first, life there was not easy. She took on several odd jobs just to support herself, a very common beginning for people trying to break into Hollywood. Like many aspiring entertainers, she worked her way forward step by step, rather than starting with major roles. During this early period, she also did commercial work and some modeling. These experiences helped her get comfortable in front of the camera and gradually introduced her to people working within the industry. A major turning point came when she began working for Hollywood agent Michael Viner as a secretary. While the role was administrative, it gave her valuable exposure to the entertainment world and helped her build important industry connections. By the time she met Charles Bronson, he was already an established global star, widely known for his tough, stoic roles in action and Western films. He had a strong fan base and a long-standing Hollywood career. Their relationship developed years after Bronson lost his second wife, Jill Ireland, who died in 1990 after a long battle with breast cancer. Her passing deeply affected him, and he withdrew from public life for a period to focus on family and personal recovery. Over time, Bronson and Kim Weeks grew close. Their relationship remained private, with little shared publicly, as they preferred to keep their personal lives away from media attention. Despite the significant age difference, their bond was described as steady and supportive. The couple married on December 27, 1998, in a small, private ceremony attended only by close friends and family. Charles Bronson had a large blended family, with 7 children in total from different relationships. From his first marriage to Harriet Tendler, he had 2 children, Suzanne Bronson and Tony Bronson. Suzanne later became a writer and educator, while Tony pursued work in the film industry. From his marriage to Jill Ireland, he had 1 biological daughter, Zuleika Bronson, and also adopted a daughter, Katrina Holden Bronson. In addition, Ireland's 3 sons from her previous marriage to actor David McCallum, Paul, Valentine, and Jason McCallum became part of Bronson's extended family. Although Kim Weeks and Bronson did not have children together, she became part of this large, blended family structure, stepping into a complex but already established personal world. Over the years, Kim Weeks built financial stability through a mix of early entertainment work and later business ventures. In her younger years, she earned income through small roles in acting and television appearances, which helped her establish herself in the industry. Later on, she expanded into entrepreneurship with a business called Equivisor, which focuses on sun protection gear designed for people who spend time outdoors. This venture became an additional source of income alongside her earlier work. Today, various estimates place Kim Weeks's net worth at around $2 million, based on her entertainment career, business activities, and personal investments. Despite her financial stability, she has consistently chosen a low-key lifestyle. She has never embraced the typical Hollywood celebrity lifestyle or public visibility. As of 2026, Kim Weeks continues to live a very private life. She rarely appears in public events and gives almost no interviews, which has kept public curiosity about her life high. Reports suggest she still has involvement in her business and continues to take an interest in wellness and sun protection, areas that influenced her company's direction. She is also believed to enjoy outdoor activities and a simple day-to-day lifestyle. What do you think about Charles Bronson's life, fame, and love? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us to explore the inspiring life, love, and passing of Charles Bronson. We hope you found this video both interesting and inspiring. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to discover more celebrity stories. See you there.